This is ATC International. Welcome to Asian Television Content. Channel 31 Online TV.
Ngayong summer, leave your stress behind, kaibigan. Isama na ang buong pamilya at magsaya. Enjoy the magnificent sunset with your loved one. Tara na nang magtampisaw sa ilalim ng araw. Sandbanks, cottages, and campsites. A nature walk along 750 feet of shoreline with amazing view of nature. They have cottages, campsites, trailer sites. You can enjoy camping, swimming, fishing, boating, windsurfing, hiking, at iba pa. Sandbanks, cottages, and campsites. Ano pang iniintay nyo? Magpa-reserve na. Book your reservations at sandbankscottagesandcampsites.com o tawagan si Tita Neats 416-893-7467. Sandbanks, cottages, and campsites. Dahil summer, it's always great to make memories that will last forever.
Pinoy Vibes Toronto would like to thank Chibugan A, Filipino food at its best. Tikman ang pagkain Pinoy na Pinoy, kaya kabayan, bisitahin na sila sa loob ng Sino Mall Food Court sa 888 Dundas Street East, Mississauga. For inquiries, please call 905-804-8008. Pinoy Vibes Toronto would like to thank Mind and Track online shop. Kaya mind ka lang ng mind at matatrack nyo pa ang order nyo. Kaya kapag nag-livestream sila, tambay na! At hindi lang yan, bago sila matapos sa stream nila, of course, may pa-games. Kaya huwag kakalimutan, basta pag-shopping online, Mind and Track online shop.
And now, brace yourselves for the outstanding performance of one of Tokyo's best performers, Beyonce of Abby Music Band. Now, on Sessions.
Mga kabayan, alam nyo ba kung saan matatagpuan ang masasarap na ulam na namimiss nyo na? Tara na sa Tambayan ng Bayan. Dito na tayo sa Tagpuan. We have 3 Tagpuan restaurant branches to serve you. 707 Kennedy Road, 101A Scarborough. 1740 Victoria Park Avenue, 1150 Morningside Avenue, Toronto, sa loob ng Fusion Market. Tagpuan Restaurant. Cooking is our passion and great tasting experience. The views and opinions expressed by the host and the guests on this live broadcast do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of Pinoy Vibes Toronto. And also the topics are not all suitable for very young audiences, so parental guidance is recommended. Pasyalan, kainan, kahit anong kwentuhan. Basta may kasayahan, di namin kayo iiwan. Lahat pag-uusapan, sabay nating mararanasan. Ang tunay na pagsasama natin, ito nyo lang mararamdaman.
Huwag malumbay, minsan lang tayo mabuhay. Makitambay kasama ating kaibigan. Pinoy Vibes World, walang negatibo. Pinoy Vibes World, happy lagi dito. Pinoy Vibes World, ika'y matutulungan. Pinoy Vibes World, tunay na kaibigan.
And now, here is your host, DJ Ryan.
Good morning, Philippines. Good evening, Toronto. Welcome again sa inyong numero 1 programa, Barkada Online. This is Pinoy Vibes World. My name is DJ Ryan. Bago ko imuhin pa, papasukin na natin si Coco Martini. Coco Martini, asa to? Si Coco Martini. Yun, pasok.
Yun o!
Hi, brother.
Yaming umaga, Pilipinas! Yaming gabi, Toronto! Nandito na naman kami para magbigay na mga tungkol sa mental health. Yan. At saka excited na ako sa mga guests natin ngayon.
I know.
So excited about our guests. Yes.
Yes, and they're excited too. So before anything else, papasukin natin si Apsi from Thailand. Apsi, come on in. You know,
Sawadika! Good
Sawadika.
morning, Philippines, and good evening, North America. Kamusta po kayong lahat, mga Pinoy Vibes World?
okay naman, Apsi. Medyo nilalagnat lang ngayon. Hopefully, maging maayos na yung lalamunan ko. And,
Oo, take your
hindi po
meds.
virus. Ayun, sana hindi po virus.
Totoo. Si Coco Martini talagang hindi nagbabago. You know, lagi.
Yun o, syempre! Kailangan.
Iba pa rin iba ang energy, talagang laging high energy talaga dahil dito sa Pinoy Vibes World.
Syempre. Good
Anyway.
vibes all the time.
Ayun.
Yes.
Ano naman ang inyong yung weekend niyo? Start ng weekend.
Ako, ang weekend ko, bahay lang. As in, team bahay, simula nung December, di tayo naglalabas para na rin sa kaligtasan ng mamamayang Pilipino siya. Mahirap
Bawal
na.
mag-spread the doom. Parang.
Oo.
Binabati natin mga viewers right now. Hi to Marita Pasuengos, kay Brenda Vertusio Cianchino, and Virgie Salinga. And thank you so much for watching. I-share lang ating live because maganda ang ating pag-uusapan ngayon. We'll talk about mental health. Dahil alam natin na usong-uso ngayon yan. Lalo na pumasok pa ang pandemic. So, sama-sama na. Pero, syempre, dito sa Pinoy Vibes World, lalabanan natin yung mental health na yan, negativity na yan, with our special guests na nasa baba ngayon. So, siguro, papasukin na natin sila. And, simulan natin kay, ikaw, Apsi, introduce mo ang ating life coach.
Yes, of course. It's an honor for me to introduce a passionate speaker, a deep love for impacting lives at one at a time, a businesswoman, a teacher, a mother, and a wife. This is our special guest for tonight. Her name is Judy Tan-Mcdonald. Judy went to Canada in 1983 as a foreign student from Singapore. After graduating from the University of Alberta in 1987, she decided to make Canada her home. She has lived in many parts of Canada from east to west over her 39 years in Canada. She has always been a leader in her career life, leading international sales teams in real estate, training them, motivating them, and coaching them. She has a lot of wonderful experiences in her career life, such as the opportunity to meet with the former president of the United States, President George Bush,
Wow.
the former President Bill Clinton, well-known people like Sarah Palin and Barbara Walter. Tonight, she wants to share a very important topic that we all hear a lot these days called mental health. Again, may I present to you Ms. Judy Tan-Mcdonald.
Hi, Miss Judy.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for having me tonight.
It's our pleasure to have you here, Miss Judy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this privilege.
We are starstruck because Miss Judy are
Yeah.
not only attractive, but she's so professional in what she's doing, and especially helping
Yeah.
a lot of Filipinos, not only Filipinos, like Canadians who wants to, to face their problems in life. You need them.
And now
Judy.
all around the world,
Yeah.
people will
Thank
hear
you.
her and inspire her.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
So before anything else, Miss Judy, greet our viewers right now. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know we are all over the world. What a privilege it is to be connected through social media and technology. Today, I'd like to bring greetings from our cold but beautiful Toronto. It's -6 degrees right now. It's pretty cold. And so if you are wearing a t-shirt and a pair of sandals, I really envy you because that's where I wanted to be today. Unfortunately, pandemic has kept me away from Singapore. I would love to be in Singapore at this time, preparing to celebrate Chinese New Year. Anyways, hi to everyone and blessings to you. And let's continue with the rest of the evening and enjoy each other's company.
There we go. Thank you so much.
Wow,
What a very
thank
wonderful
you.
introduction.
Thank you.
Yeah, to our viewers right now. So,
You are
balik na
very
natin sa mga
welcome.
friends. Hi to Ramil Gallardo Lucero. So, shoutout naman daw. And also hi to Virgie. Sabi niya, hello mga ka-vibes. Good evening there. DJ Ryan
Hi.
from Phoenix and Apsi in Thailand. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing our... Mamaya, yung mga friends natin papasok din. So, but before anything else, before natin ipasok yung special guest natin. So I have a first question for Miss Judy. Yeah. Miss Judy, have you ever been in a situation when you feel like your mental health is going to crash?
Yes, actually, because none of us is immune to that. Even as a life coach, I have been through many. And I guess that's what makes my experience very interesting to share tonight. I can maybe share 2 or 3 experiences that I have. And the very first one was when I gave birth to my firstborn. Okay. She was a beautiful girl born with normal weight, normal length, and beautiful eyes, beautiful skin. But little did I know that she was not able to hear. She was born with profound deafness. And I did not catch that until she was about a year old. And I did not catch it when I was in Canada. It was actually during my trip to Singapore when I visited my parents that I realized that she was not able to turn to the direction of the voice. So as soon
Mhm.
as I discovered that, I went into like the top of the mountain, right
Mhm.
straight into the valley. Being a
Mhm.
first time mom, your expectation, your excitement, your joy, suddenly I felt like they suddenly disappeared, when I found out that she was deaf. Although there is nothing wrong with being deaf, you know,
Mhm.
they are as complete as they can be, they're as beautiful as they can be. But because I am a hearing person, so to me, that may sound like a deficiency. But
Mhm.
as I raise my daughter and as I learn more about deafness and the community and the beauty in that community, I realized that, hey, I don't have to go through a life of depression with this, but it's a journey. It wasn't overnight that I said, oh, the switch just clicked and I'm okay. Actually, not. So I had to go through a long period of depression, anger, sadness, withdrawal, stop talking to people, stop answering calls. So my mental health was really messed up at that time. But I really thank God. I'm a believer in God. I really thank God for the strength that carries me through those difficult times. So another experience that I have was with my second child. Okay. And my second child was born healthy. She was actually the biggest baby at the
Mhm.
hospital that night with the smallest mummy. She was born 10 pounds. Okay. And I was the smallest mom in a Canadian hospital with the biggest baby. So that was quite something. I broke a record there. So I was very happy welcoming my big baby, and they always use her for demo when they show new mother how to give baby bath, right?
Mhm.
So when she was 3 years old, I started letting her learn how to swim. And one day, after her swimming lesson, I picked her up and I realized that she has huge bruises, like as big as the size of my palm. Okay, huge
Mm-hmm.
bruises all over her body. And I was shocked. And I thought the teacher, the swimming teacher abused her,
Mhm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was really upset. So I went to the teacher right away and confronted her. What did you do to my baby? She has bruises all over. And she said, I didn't do anything. So I immediately brought my baby to the hospital, and they found out that her white blood cells was dangerously low. It was so low at the level that they had to tie her to the bed. Okay, because any movement, any shaking, any movement will cause more bleeding inside her body. So that was another shock that came into my life. So I'm a mother of many experience when it comes to the health, raising a child who has ill health. So that went on for quite a few months. And the doctor, so we almost every week we were in and out of hospitals. They want blood
Mm-hmm.
tests every single day to check
Mhm.
her white blood cells. So that went on for a period of 6 months. And that 6 months was very difficult for me. It was my valley again. So I went from
Mm-hmm.
the top of the mountain to the valley again. So it was quite a sharp dive. A
Yeah.
lot of people
Mm-hmm.
went through the valley in stages, but for me, my two experiences with my children were really from the valley to from the top to the valley. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I said, I thank God for allowing me to go through this and give me the strength to go through it. And I
Mhm.
did many things, to help me overcome it.
True.
Maybe we can discuss that later.
Yes, and based on
Yes.
your
Yes.
experience, this is the power that you can share to other people to inspire
Yes,
them, you know, and
yes,
and to make them realize that their problem is not that big compared to other people.
exactly.
Right.
So before we talk
Mm-hmm.
about a lot of things, Miss Judy, I think let's put in our very beautiful guest, Coco Martini. Can you please introduce?
Yes, I'm very excited to introduce. She's the Executive Director and Ambassador of Mental Health for the Youth and Parents Association of Markham, a nonprofit organization in Markham. Since 2017, she has earned numerous titles, having two provincial titles, four national titles, and one international title. She's currently Miss Earth Canada 2022 and will represent our country in the upcoming international pageant. Pinoy Vibes World, let's welcome Miss Jessica Victoria Cianchino.
Hi everyone, it's
Wow.
so nice to be here. Good morning to everyone in the Philippines and good evening to our viewers in Toronto. Hi everyone, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, Jessica. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you, Judy, and of course you as well, but also Coco and Ryan. I haven't seen you guys in a long time, so
All right.
so nice
Yes.
to see you guys
This is our
virtually.
dream to be with you here in our show. So thank you so much for accepting our
Thank
invite, and
you.
also hi to your mom, Brenda. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, Mommyger. Yes.
Mommy Jer.
Mommy
Mommyger.
Jer.
Yeah,
Imagine, guys,
fun.
our guest is Miss
Earth.
Canada. Miss
Miss
Earth
Earth.
Canada
Miss Earth Canada.
2022.
Yes,
Wow.
just recently.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So
Thank
before anything else,
you.
Jessica, please greet our viewers right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say again, good morning and good evening to our viewers. I'm so grateful to be here and have this opportunity to talk about mental health, something that I'm so passionate about. And of course, everyone can relate to this topic. I always say you don't have to be suffering from a mental illness in order to relate to mental health. We all experience bad days. And especially during this global pandemic, I'm sure we have all experienced similar situations. So I'm very excited to talk about this, and I'm so excited to talk about, share experiences and your experiences as well.
Thank you so much, Jessica. So, first question, Jessica, what is mental health for you?
Yes. Oh, so I mean, this is like a big discussion, right? Mental health.
Yeah.
It is subjective. Everybody experiences different their mental health differently. But I would like to say that mental health is very similar to physical health. In fact, they're connected. They go hand in hand. For me personally, when I work on my physical health, my mental health benefits as well, and then vice versa. When I work on my mental health, my physical health benefits from that. So our bodies are interconnected, and mental health is so important just because you cannot physically see, someone is suffering or someone is struggling with their mental health like a physical, right, disability, or like Judy was saying, her daughter and her children's conditions in that case, it's physical and you can see it. Mental health is a little bit different. You won't be able to see it. However, you will see signs if are aware and educated on these things. And it is so important for your lifestyle, for success, relationships, your relationship with yourself. Mental health is the foundation of a healthy and happy lifestyle, I believe.
There we go. Thank you so much,
All
Jessica.
right. I have a question for Miss Judy and for Jessica. So this will be a perspective of two separate amazing women that we have today. So people think that when they're sad, that's already depression or anxiety. So how are we going to educate the people watching us right now in a in our simplest way that sadness is not automatically depression or anxiety? Can we have Miss Judy first?
Sure. I think sadness and depression can be related, but they are not the same. Okay. You can be sad over something over a period of time that can lead to depression. Depression is more serious and more. It's deeper than a sadness. I think sadness is caused by circumstances. Usually, something happened, the loss of somebody you love, or you lose your health, or you lose your business. So it is caused by external situations. But I think depression can be something inward. So I think they are quite different.
Thank you. Let's have Jessica.
Yeah, so in simple terms, like I said, I always explain mental health, and the difference between sadness and depression is that everyone experiences difficulties with their mental health, so experiencing sadness. However, not everyone suffers from a mental illness. So that's the difference. Sadness is like your thoughts and feelings; they come and go. Your thoughts and feelings are like waves, right? You have good days, you have bad days. So that is like sadness. However, depression it's a more long term. Sometimes it cannot be defined by one thing. Sadness is triggered by singular events. However, depression is something that is long term, that maybe is unexplainable, unless you go to the root of the problem. So I think it's so important to differentiate these two, and I think it's a great question to understand when you're feeling sad, and you can figure out ways to cope with your sadness. However, if you're experiencing depression and more long-term symptoms, then that is something where more serious action should be taken.
Yeah, right. Because I just noticed in social media platforms, people commonly use the term "I'm depressed," "I'm feeling
Anxiety.
the anxiety," and they think it's just as simple as sadness. That's why I asked that question, and I hope that enlightens our viewers when it comes to the difference of sadness and depression or anxiety. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's so interesting. Yeah, such an interesting question. And I like how you said, a lot of people say, I feel this. I feel sadness or I feel depressed. And I think that our brains are easily tricked, right? When we say we feel sadness or we feel depressed, maybe you're not actually feeling those feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but you're thinking them.
Exactly.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad. I think I'm this way. And when you trigger and when you change your brain to think, okay, I think these things and I don't necessarily feel them, then that can take away the power that those situations have over you. And then you take the power back and you say, these are just thoughts and they come and go, and I'll easily be able to overcome this. So, yeah.
Right. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for that, Miss Judy and Jessica.
You're
Now I
very
have a
welcome.
question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Coco Martin, you have a
Oh,
question?
no, no. I'm just uh, fixing my sunglasses.
Okay.
I just
You
doing
need
like
this, Tol? You need this?
no, no.
Tissue.
I like your sunglasses, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Both of you are here in Toronto, right, Judy and Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is the cases here in Toronto? Like, is it too bad, especially during winter or fall, for for the mental health? Is it too noisy for that? Like the
I think
experiences of
right
people?
now, I think right now mental health is really a big thing. You know,
Hmm.
prior to pandemic, we don't hear these two words as much as we hear it now. I
Hmm.
think the pandemic has really caused a lot of people to suffer mentally because of fear and uncertainty, because of loss of jobs, loss of income, because of loss of loved ones through death, even, so it has magnified the awareness of having a good mental health. And I am really glad, because mental health should be an area where we should always be aware of. But I think this pandemic has really brought it out to the light. And I'm really glad, because all of us do suffer some mental health challenges at some points in our lives. It is when we are strong, somebody is weak, that's when we can come and help others. I think it's important that we bring it out to the open and allow people to say, hey, I'm not great today, I need help, I need someone to talk to, can you guide me, can you be that person for me? It's good to talk about it, it's good to be open about it, and there's nothing wrong being honest about how you feel.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
Coco.
Uh, i- is it easy to identify a person if he is depressed or sad? You cannot tell, right? Or
Different, right?
unless you know they will be open to you saying, "Oh, I'm not feeling well." So because sometimes there are people that I'm happy and then suddenly it changed their mood to be sad, right? So it,
Yeah.
um, is it
So
really hard to identify?
yeah, so I do think it is difficult to identify just because, like I mentioned, it is like an invisible thing that you cannot see. I lost a loved one to someone that experienced difficulties with their mental health. So it was very difficult for me to see the signs, especially during the age preteens and teenagers,
Mm.
because you're going through a lot of changes, peer pressure, mood swings, right? So you don't know if these young people are just going through a growth or if they're going through something difficult with their mental health. So that's why I think communication is so important. I
True.
think that you can kind of tell when people start pulling away from things that they enjoy or their social groups. Humans are social creatures and we thrive on that human interaction.
Mm.
So when we start noticing that our loved ones are pulling away, that may be a sign in itself, that they are being to themselves and that they may need someone to talk to. So that's why I really like the point that Judy brought up. The silver lining of this pandemic is that now we're starting to talk about mental health more. And I think that there is strength in telling your story. So share your story because someone might be able to relate to that. And
Yes.
then they might
Right.
not feel alone, right? So that's why I would encourage everyone to, I know it's scary, but there's strength in sharing your story and that you might, help somebody else and that they might be able to relate to you.
Yeah.
So let's say someone approach you, tell, "Oh, Coco Martini, I feel sad now." what should do? Listen to whatever he say, or what action should I do?
I think, first of all, what you need to do is to be there for the person and listen. Listening is a very important skill. You know, a lot of us are very quick and jump into suggestions, you should do this, you should do that. But we should never start from that angle. I think what we need to do is to say what bothers you. Maybe if the person is not able to tell a lot, then you can ask a few questions. What is bothering you? What caused it? And how can I help you? Because I think by asking, we get to know the person's mindset better, okay?
Mhm.
Instead of trying to offer solutions right away without knowing exactly what we are handling. And also, with the previous question, I agree with Jessica that it is very difficult to tell when a person is depressed. But if you do live with the person, or you are always in contact with the person, then you can start observing changes in
Mhm.
activities, social withdrawal, and also even with food and diet. Maybe they do no longer like to eat and
Mhm.
something like that. They withdraw a lot. So those are things that you can observe. And if you are somebody who cares, you would like to send a message. Hey, I noticed that these past few weeks you have been really quiet. You're not talking much and you're not even eating that much. Are you okay? It's important for us to ask, how are you? Are you really okay? I think these are good questions, but sometimes we are afraid. Or sometimes, when people, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? I'm good. But actually, deep
Mhm.
inside, we are not good.
So
But
how will we going to push
Shutting
through
people
our
off.
question if
Mhm.
it's he's okay or not?
yeah, so if it is my close friend and I know how she normally performs on a any given day, and she suddenly is different, even though when I say how are you, I'm good, then I would probe. I
Yeah, you
would,
know it. You know
you
them already.
know, I would.
Mhm.
And it's worth it. It's worthwhile to do it, because I have heard many stories from friends and family that they have lost their loved ones to suicide. you know don't be afraid to always to ask somebody, are you really okay, because I saw
Mhm.
something different.
Mhm.
Uh,
Coco?
follow follow up question on the it
Follow
was
up?
mentioned about not eating, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
How about eating a lot? Nowadays, people eating a lot. Is it a sign also of depression?
It can be. It can
Oh, it
be
can be.
too.
Oh,
Yeah. So changes in eating habits, like drastic changes from total withdrawal from food to binge eating. So these
Mhm.
are signs of internal struggle of the person.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
if you notice big changes, then it's good for you to ask and probe and be sensitive. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, the
oh.
key is to listen. Be a very good listener. Help the
Mhm.
person feel very safe and secure to open up to you. That's very
Mhm.
important. Yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
opening up. I eating a lot right now, so I don't.
But you don't look like somebody who is depressed, though.
You're compressed, tol. You're compressed.
Compressed. Compressed.
Yeah. Before
Just- I'm just joking.
yeah, before we start our
I
show, I saw
uh-huh.
on Facebook a post. It says, "Brother, I'm sorry, I can't take it anymore." So a lot of people are uh, asking questions, what happened, and the graphics there are like a guy in the shadow holding a rope.
Oh.
In that case, is that like a hopeless, or do we need to like
A sign.
assign, or can we recommend it to an expert for that?
Yes. Yes. I
Because
think
we oh see, sorry.
I think if it is somebody that you do not know, okay, you can offer to help. Can I help you reach somebody who can help you professionally? Or, like for me in Ontario, we have phone numbers that I can give. Okay, you can go to ontario.ca mental health. Okay, so there are lots of toll-free numbers that you can call. There's crisis line that they can. So these are things that we can help people. So depending on where they
Mhm.
live, you know, it it's always good to at least give it a try and see how
Mhm.
we can reach out to them.
Yes.
Yeah, and you
And
can reach Judy too. Like you can see below, there's a
Yeah.
scrolling message there.
Yes.
Appreciate
And
Jessica?
that, Judy.
and yeah, and that's why I think it's so great that Judy did mention that it's important to listen, right? Because once we listen, then we'll be able to understand, okay, is this a situation where this person just needs somebody to listen to and a friend to lean on, or is this more serious? Right. And then when those cases do happen, we can obviously recommend them to a professional that can actually help these circumstances, because we are not professionals, right? We are friends, mothers, sisters, brothers. So I think it's important to understand that difference. And then, just from my own experience, working with the nonprofit in Markham, I think it is so important for parents to initiate this conversation with the younger generation. I know it can be scary, it can be a scary and almost grim conversation of mental health, but it doesn't have to be. It can be light and casual, right? Just like your physical health. And also, from my experiences of working with Girl Guides in Markham, there's a lot of situations where young people do not tell their parents or trusted adults about situations that they may have, like a little bullying or peer pressure, not feeling fitting in. And I think it's so important that with this open communication, children and young adults feel comfortable letting, trusted adults know their feelings, that if there's something serious, adults can address this. So that open communication is so key, especially for the younger generation.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for that. I have a question for Judy. Can you suggest some ways that we can practice regularly to keep our mental health in a good shape without having, to spend a lot of money? Because I know it's
Yes.
a bit expensive.
Yes, yes. Especially in this pandemic, many of us suffer an income cut, right? We make less money in our business, or our hours are cut, and so on and so forth. So I can think of quite a lot of ways that we can do without really spending a lot of money. Number one is to go for a walk in nature. Okay, going for a walk in nature is very, very important, because when you are in touch with nature, the fresh air, the sunlight, the vitamin D is actually very good for your soul. And on top of just walking, if you are a music lover like myself, I would encourage you to bring your headphone with you, your music, iPhone or whatever you have. Listen to your favorite music as you walk.
Not a
Because,
love song, ah. Not a love song.
Not
well,
love
Walk
song
music.
for
exactly,
broken
whatever thing
hearted,
that uplift your heart. I think that is the important thing. But aside from music, what you can do with your earphone is listening to a good podcast. I love listening to podcasts,
Yeah, yoga
right?
means. Yeah.
Good messages. There are lots of good motivational messages. And if you want to pray but you don't know how to pray, there are lots of good prayers that you can go to YouTube and just play the prayers.
Yeah.
And you know what? These things are all free and they are accessible to all of us. So that's one thing. Another thing that I like you to do is to maybe practice meditation at home. Being quiet is a good thing too. And that's one thing. One more thing is maybe learn a new hobby that's not expensive. Like, for example, if you don't like cooking, you can learn to cook a new recipe, even simple one. It helps your mental health. Okay, learning something, keep your mind occupied, keep your mind progressing, moving forward. Learning something is exciting. Like this pandemic, I never baked in my entire life. I
Mhm.
don't like to eat sweets, I don't like to eat bread and baked goods, but I picked up baking. It was amazing. I made lots of beautiful breads and stuff like that, and my husband just love it, my friends love it, and they always ask me to make and give it to them. So I enjoy that. So these are ways, these are just some of the ways, you know that you can help make your mental health really, really healthy without spending a lot of money.
Mhm.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. How
All
about
right.
you, Absi? Like, I know, there's a time like you're so alone like you realize that you're alone in Thailand. Is
Yes,
there an experience
that's
that you want to
actually
do
my
something?
question. Because even though we experienced the pandemic for more than 2 years, there are still people who are do shaming when it comes to experiencing such as depression, anxiety, and I'm just curious to hear both the opinion of Jessica and Miss Judy. for Miss Judy, as a parent, do you think it's okay that your child, for example, should open up to his or her friend or to anyone of his choice, where your child feels comfortable of speaking out their feelings? And for Jessica, as a young teenager, do you think we should be able to open up to our parents only, or to our friends, even though we do not know up to what level we can be judged by the people? Let's start with Miss Judy as a mother. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. The key is for your child to open up to somebody that she feels safe with. I think without feeling safe, you won't be able to open up to anyone, whether you are a child, a teenager, or an adult. It's the same. So I would encourage the teenagers, if you are really suffering right now, but you can't talk to your parents for whatever reason, could be generational gap, could be the way you are brought up. You know what? Do not be afraid to tell your friends. Okay. And I hope when your friends do not know how to help you, they will call the crisis line. They will reach out to a lot of free help that they can access to. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Without
Mm-hmm.
having to spend a penny at all. They don't have to
Right.
go to a life coach and pay. They can
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of free services provided by the government and different non-profit organizations. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's
Yeah,
perfect.
because I believe there are still, I'm not generalizing, but there are still parents who are into the traditional way of handling situation. Like sometimes they tell their kids that, oh, you're just acting up, you're just asking for more attention. But the truth is, they already going through difficulties in life, such as these, and they're already trying to
Yeah,
find ways to feel at ease, but then they're hearing these things. That's why they're trying to reach out to other people.
yes,
Jessica?
Yes. I think regardless, your children are not going to tell you some things, right? There's some secrets or things that kids
mhm,
and teenagers talk about just amongst themselves.
that's
And
true.
then you code switch, and then you have, you speak differently when you speak to your teachers, your family, and things like that, right? So it's not shocking that there are certain things that, your child would only tell their friends because that's a different relationship. But I do think that, like what I said before, if you already establish the foundation of a strong relationship between a parent and a child, then hopefully you'll be able to trust your child to make that judgment of when they can come to you with something more serious and when they can come to their parents,
Right.
maybe for a boy problem or a crush problem, right? Maybe you
Mhm.
don't feel that comfortable talking to your parents, but you would with a friend, right? And then if something is more serious, hopefully you can trust that they will come to you, right? But again, like I said, that open communication is so important. And like
Mhm.
Judy said, hopefully they're surrounding themselves with good friends that they can also make the judgment of whether or not a trusted adult should intervene. So that
Mm-hmm.
communication is so important for mental
Yes,
health. Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Because when I was alone back then, because I used to live alone. It's so difficult during the pandemic
Mhm.
period, that even up until now, there are times that you feel like, what if I get sick? No one's gonna
Mhm.
like take care of me. I'm far from my family, and when I
Mhm.
reach out to someone, they will say that, oh, you're just acting up. You just need more attention, and it makes me feel so down. That at the beginning, I was so afraid to tell that I am experiencing something odd, until I came to the point that I reached out to a friend, and I was advised to visit a doctor, and it really helped. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope, to all our viewers right now, do not be afraid,
Mhm.
and do not think that people will judge you, and it will mark on your, will be tag on your name, because
Mhm.
what matters is your mental health.
Yeah, and
Yes,
and
yes.
just to add to that, as half Filipina Canadian, and I also have other Asian Canadian friends who they were born in Canada. However, their families are from different places in Asia. There is a cultural difference, right, with how we approach mental health. And like Judy said, there
Right.
can be a generational gap, And there can also be a cultural gap too, where
Sure.
kids are raised in Canada and their parents are raised in the Philippines or
Yes.
wherever in Asia, where they growing up had to focus on a survival mindset where I don't have time to focus on my feelings or anxiety and depression because I need to provide for my family, for myself. But now you see that this new generation of immigrant children, they're in Canada or the States, and they have almost this luxury and this privilege of being able to work on their mental health and really focus on it. So I think that that's where you can kind of see that there is miscommunication in between understanding, that mental health is something that is serious with parents and children. So that's why they might feel more comfortable speaking to someone their age because they can relate to that, right? So it's so important to know who you can talk to about these things and then also feel comfortable to talk to your parents, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right.
If I may add something too,
Mhm.
I am so glad, FZ, that you shared your experience, because many times we are too quick to speak. Okay. When our child or our friends, they go through something and we try to play it down. We
Mhm.
try to put them down by making some remarks that is not helpful at all. So
Exactly.
this show, I would like to remind myself and all of us, including our listener, to be slow to speak. Be a good listener. Be a good listener. That is really the key to helping people. Okay? Because people are afraid if they are trying to tell you something and right away you say, it's just your imagination. You are just
Mhm.
acting up or whatever. Then nobody will be able to open up from there. So we have to
True.
be careful. Let's remind ourselves not to do that. And let's remind everyone who is listening to this show to not do that. Be a little
Mhm.
bit more sensitive to somebody's feelings,
Yeah.
be a little bit more compassionate to
Mhm.
somebody's feelings.
Now
I
I have a
think.
So,
question.
so
How do I know if I'm unwell?
How do you know if you're unwell? Okay.
Mhm.
You can tell if you are unwell by the amount of self confidence you have, self esteem. If you find your self confidence going down, your self esteem going down, your
Okay.
social activities is going down, okay, these are signs that indicate that, hey, something is bothering you up here. Somehow you have allowed some viruses, not Omicron, some viruses
And
to
bacteria
enter.
too.
And what you should be doing is to delete that as soon as it enters. Oh, I'm not good enough. I will never be successful. I'm not as pretty as her. I'm not as successful as him. Whenever those thoughts start coming to you, you know what you need to do? You make sure you know how to press that delete button and say, out you go, out you go, out you go. That's not me. I'm good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
I'm made
it's
for
some
greatness. God made me to be great.
yeah.
Okay. So remember, those are the things we can watch out for.
Because sometimes our problems, sometimes we know that we can handle it, right? And
Yeah.
there's a problem that we cannot handle. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, a family problem
Mm-hmm.
or about finances
Mm-hmm.
or friends like that. Uh, is it better if you can choose, or you will talk to a friend that is not too close to you or too close to you?
To avoid judgment, I
Yeah,
believe.
to avoid judgment, because sometimes they judge you, just like what you've said a while ago, like you need to be more compassionate. What if your friend is not compassionate to you? So
Then
it's bad
avoid them.
for
Run
yeah.
away from them. You
Mhm.
know what? Never let negativity be close to you. Never let negative people surround you. You should only be with positive people who can uplift you, and you make sure that you are also the kind of person who can uplift somebody. It's better to have a few quality people in your lives than to have many who are not contributing to your wellness.
True.
Okay. And that's what I like to tell you: protect yourself, protect your peace, you know?
Mhm.
A lot of people around us, they interrupt our peace, our inner peace, and we don't really need them. Okay, you have to be able to say, hey, that's close enough to me, and I think it's good. That's all I need from you. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
be selective. So it's not about whether you open to close people or not close people. It's about the individual person, whether the person is judgmental or very sensitive and very caring. So you need to identify that. A
Mm-hmm.
neutral
Yeah,
person
and
is
just
always good.
sorry, just to add about, keeping your peace. I think it's really interesting that Ryan said that, we stress over things that maybe are out of our control. And I think a lot of people experience difficulties with their mental health because they focus on things that are outside of their control instead of being aware of the things that they can control. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way that you will have a happier life, if you focus on yourself and you have that self awareness. So people that the company you keep, right? That's important. Little things in your everyday life that may seem mundane and unimportant are so important, because that will, develop the product of your mind and your body. So the things that you read, the things that you watch, the conversations you have with people. So really, like Judy said, listen to others, listen to people that are giving you advice and their opinions, because that is something that is in your control. It is in your control who you share your energy with and your time, and who you don't, and how private you keep your life, right? It's so important that you keep your peace and you only share with people that you really, really trust. So like Judy said, it's better to have, quality over quantity. I have a
Absolutely.
lot of friends, but I only have three main best friends that I
Mhm.
genuinely can
Yes.
share my feelings with, and I know that they will not judge me. So I think that on top of, your own individual coping mechanisms and maybe
Mm-hmm.
therapy, keeping a good amount of people and friends around you is so important on your journey to mental health and happier life.
All right. Okay, so here's my last question. Um what if someone reached out to you thinking that you're the person that they really trust, but you're also going through something? How are you going to tell to that person that um I'm not in the right time to help you or to listen to you because I'm also going through difficult times? Or are you going to listen to that person, but then after some time it will be like another burden that you have to carry?
You know what is the funny thing about that? When you are going through a tough time and when somebody comes to you telling you about their problem, you actually find your problem become smaller. It can be a good
Oh,
thing.
okay.
It can
Uh-huh.
be a good thing, but of course it depends on your own mental health at that time and your
Yeah.
ability to be with the person, being a good listener. But if you
Mm-hmm.
feel that you can't, because you can't even help yourself at that time, then
Right.
you are not the right person. But otherwise, I think it is a very good thing. It's very contradictory, but it is actually a beautiful thing. Because by
Mhm.
listening to somebody's problem, it makes me feel like I'm not the only one. Oh, my problem
Mhm.
is not that big actually. It can actually help you overcome your own problems.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is also really situational based. It depends on the dynamic, but it can be
Yes.
super beneficial.
Yeah.
Giving, like I said, strength and sharing your story. Maybe you will be able to open up to them because they felt comfortable opening up to you. So then you have, a really great dynamic going on. But
Mhm.
also, it is so important that you make sure that you look after yourself and your own mental health, because
Right.
you won't be able to provide that support needed. And like Judy said, be a good listener if you are dealing with your own problems. I think Oprah said this quote, something about make sure that your own cup is full before pouring your cup, your liquid into someone else's cup. You cannot
Mhm.
give what you don't have. If your cup is empty and you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to have anything to give, right? So make sure that you're watering, your own plants in your head, and you're
Yeah.
taking
You're
care of
nurturing
yourself.
yourself. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And then you'll have enough strength to nurture others around you. So it
Wow.
goes hand in hand.
Yes. You cannot
Wow.
run on an empty tank, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
need to refill your tank and allow it to reach a level where you can share.
exactly.
So that's important for us.
Mm-hmm. I think
Wow.
that's something to take note because people are afraid to listen to other people, thinking that, oh, I already have a lot on my plate. I cannot handle you right now.
Mm.
So at least it clears things to a lot of our viewers right now that listening to other people's on whatever they're going through is not that bad at all.
It
We're
can be
gonna
a
benefit
blessing
on
in
that.
disguise. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Coco.
Coco?
Oh yeah, I have an acronym for the for this one. Laura. I don't know if you're familiar with Laura.
Uh-huh.
No.
Or
Laura acronym: listen, acknowledge, understand, relate, and then act.
Oh,
Laura.
wow.
Beautiful. I like
nice.
that.
I like that.
That's a
Yeah.
great one.
So it's
Yeah.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone, keep saying Laura, Laura, Laura,
Yeah.
and then listen.
Yeah. It's funny
Oh,
because Laura starts with L and L is listening. And
Yeah.
also remember God gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yes.
more of listening than speaking.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Be quick to listen and slow to speak.
Right.
So
Okay.
Judy, we all know that you're a life coach. So you do this online or
Mhm.
also in in person?
Yeah, I do both. Prior to pandemic, most of my coaching is done in person.
Mhm.
And then during pandemic, I have to transfer it all online. So because I do it online, then I was able to expand it to people outside of Ontario, outside of Toronto. So now I'm getting clients all over. Yeah. So I like both online and in person. If they are in Toronto, as much as possible, I like to have that human touch with them. I
Right.
like to see them face to face. I think it's great to be able to do that. There is something about meeting a person face to face. You can feel the energy from the person. It's actually mood boosting. You know, and it's nice. Yeah.
And how about, thank you so much, Judy. How about Jessica? We all know that you are the Miss Earth Canada 2022, and you are the what you call the advocate of mental health. Can you tell us a short story about how you joined the competition and this is your advocacy? Is it a pressure for you or is it easy for you?
Yes, so I recently earned the title of Miss Earth Canada 2022 this October. And it's actually so funny that it kind of made a full circle. The first pageant or official pageant that I competed in was in 2017, and that was Miss Earth. And I earned the title as Miss Earth Ontario. And then when I tried to become Miss Earth Canada, I was first runner up. So that's second place. And so I think I was a little bit too young at the time. But so now I'm hopefully, God willing, ready to represent Canada in the international pageant. But my advocacy of mental health actually happened when a story of me was published in the paper on my pageant titles, and it gained the attention of the organization. So it furthered my humanitarian efforts, having a title and using this attention for mental health awareness. And now we just raise awareness for mental health through online initiatives. We also have challenges like walks and run. So like I was saying, the connection between your physical health and your mental health is so important to acknowledge. So we do host events that encourage you to be, physically healthy while also encouraging you to focus on your mental health. So I would definitely, encourage everyone to check it out, as we do a lot of online initiatives, as obviously Toronto's in lockdown. So
We are so proud of you, Jessica.
thank you.
Yeah, and we
Nice.
love you
Congratulations.
always here in Pinoy Vibes
Mhm.
World.
Yeah.
You're
Thank
always
you
welcome.
so much.
We always support.
All
Do you
right.
have any
Thank
follow-up, Coco Martini or Absi, before we end the show?
Yes, I would like to ask Miss Judy and Jessica to give us a reminder for today about mental health. And please let the people know how they could reach you, Miss Judy, if they need help from you, and to Jessica in regards to the nonprofit organization that you're working with. Let's start with Jessica.
Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and of course, Pinoy Vibes for having me. It is such an honor and a privilege to be here and talk about this topic. Like we said, mental health is so important now more than ever as we are all experiencing this global pandemic. So make sure that you are aware of yourself. You know, your physical body can also tell when you're mentally distressed. So have that self-awareness. Like Judy said, listen to others, have awareness of those around you, and hopefully, you know, you'll be able to work on your mental health through those steps. Everyone has different coping mechanisms and self-care practices. So hopefully you find yours. And yeah, you can follow my journey to the international pageant of Miss Earth through social media accounts, Jessica Cianchino, and also follow YPAM for online initiatives on mental health and education. And shout out to my mom and my grandma who's watching, and shout out to IPEN and Pageant Group Canada. And thank you again.
Thank you so
Judy?
much, Jessica. And of course, Miss Judy, anything you want to
Yes,
say
thank
to our
you so
viewers?
much, everyone, for your time. It's really a privilege to be able to share what is so important and what is affecting all of us in this pandemic, especially. I like to say to every one of us to be a little kinder, a little bit more compassionate, and less judgmental. I think that's the words I want to leave with you tonight. Be a little bit kinder, more compassionate, and less judgmental. Let's spread love and help everyone around us. Take initiative to reach out to people when you see that they are not well. A little hug, a small hug, a shake of hands, whatever it takes. Do something nice for someone when you know they are going through a difficult time. Be slow to speak, be quick to listen. All right, everyone, thank you so much. You can reach me by my Facebook, Agape Online Inward Coaching.
There we go. Thank you so much, Miss Judy. I hope that this is not the last time, and also Jessica, because
Yeah.
we all need this, or everybody
Right.
in the world need
Mhm.
this. So, thank you so much for the time,
You're very
and
welcome.
of course, Coco Martini, you have something to say before we end?
Oh, last words. Yes. I always say that in the show that it's called mathematics of life. You know, the you have to add kindness,
Mhm.
subtract hatred, multiply love, and then if that happens, no division will happen.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
always wash your hands. After washing your hands, put them together and pray.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
yes. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, Coco Martini.
Good
So,
night
once
and
again,
good
thank you
morning.
so much, Jessica and Judy, and of
You
course,
are very
Absi of
welcome.
Thailand. Thank you so much for the time. And next week, we're going to tackle another interesting topic here sa Pinoy Vibes Toronto dahil dito sa Pinoy Vibes World.
Yeah.
Good,
Pinoy Vibes World.
good vibes
Good vibes
all the
all the
time. Thank you so
time.
much, guys.
Thank you
Love
so
you. Thank
much. Enjoy
you.
the rest of your evening. Bye.
Pasyalan, kainan, kahit anong kwentuhan Basta may kasayahan, di namin kayo iiwan Lahat pag-uusapan, sabay nating mararanasan Ang tunay na pagsasama na dito nyo lang mararamdaman
Huwag malumbay, minsan lang tayo mabuhay. Makitambay kasama ating kaibigan. Pinoy Vibes World, walang negatibo. Pinoy Vibes World, happy lagi dito. Pinoy Vibes World, ika'y matutulungan. Pinoy Vibes World, tunay na kaibigan.